Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. If there's one thing Rolex understands better than anyone else in the business, it's that the key to producing all-time great watches, true immortals that transcend styles, fads, and generations, it's that you want to produce a few timeless references and make many variations on those basic templates, rather than a million different watches with passing voguish styles that are lost in the scrum, lost to time, forgotten, even drown out amongst their own sheer volume. That's kind of the mistake that you've seen from companies like Omega and Breitling and Tag Heuer that have had a million different models over the years, but only a few real classics. Rolex, by some stroke of either imagination or genius, manages to make only classics, and then it subtly tailors them to the tastes of the time. And realistically, you can't get any more timeless among Rolex watches than the famed Oyster Perpetual Day-Date. Now, this is a watch that is the Day-Date by name, but the President by reputation. We may believe this watch is called the Rolex President, and it's always called that in, popular culture, in general conversation. The reality is that this watch gained that nickname essentially by the ultimate form of unpaid endorsement. Every president, from John F. Kennedy to Bill Clinton, has worn this watch at some point or another. And those VIPs have been joined by their counterparts overseas. Both the famous and the infamous have worn this watch, and that's because it is the ultimate power broker's piece. First issued in 1956, it's hardly changed since then. You want to see the definition of timeless? Look up the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date. Always issued in precious metals, Rolex has never diluted the appeal of this watch. Always automatic, always chronometer certified. It was the first watch to combine automatic winding with a day and a date function. And in an era when prestige watches have grown overwrought and oversized, this watch has remained in the lineup, the original Rolex Day-Date, virtually unchanged, which is why this vintage reference 18038 in 18-karat rose gold with factory diamond dial looks like it could have been made last week at Rolex in Geneva. The bottom line is the style doesn't change. Rolex makes small refinements, so planned obsolescence is never part of their agenda. It's never part of the program. You buy a vintage Rolex, it'll look as good today as it did back in the 1970s. And this model right here has a serial number that places it roughly in the 1986-1987 range. So it's representative of the sort of prototype of the modern Day-Date. It's got the high beat movement. It has the single quick set so you can swap quickly between the dates on the dial. It has sapphire crystal. Again, everything that we take for granted in a modern Rolex, with the exception of the day quick set, is pretty much here present and correct. So you can wear this like a modern watch. You don't have to worry about scratching the crystal. You don't have to worry about spinning the wheel endlessly to get to, a day, a week out if you let the watch stop. This is a very convenient piece to wear and could easily be a man's only watch. And because the 36mm case wears nicely on any wrist, let me show you just on my 6.3-inch, 16-centimeter wrist for our metric folks. This watch wears with tremendous presence, and it could look as nice on a lady as a contemporary reference, a bigger watch for her, so to speak, or as a traditional dress reference on a man. This is the ultimate prestige timepiece. Light metal, dark dial, inset diamonds on the dial itself. This is what's called a Certi dial in Rolex parlance. You've got a combination of brilliant cut diamonds and baguette cut diamonds. And you can see the difference between their squarish and oblong rectangular shapes. All of the features of the dial are either 18-karat yellow gold or diamond. So when I say this is a prestige piece, I mean it. And that beautiful black lacquered dial has tremendous presence. Not only that, but this is a tritium era dial. It is loomed, and you can see the dots of the loom outboard of the diamonds. You can see these little dots. They actually play beautifully with the yellow gold because as a true tritium dial, they've started to patina over time, and the same is true of the loom on the hands. That only adds to the beauty of the watch as time passes by, and many of the traditional stylistic features of the Day-Date are present, correct, and beautiful. You can see that the fluted bezel, indicating precious metal, is in gorgeous shape. This watch has not been polished to death like so many older Rolexes have. It still maintains beautifully defined creases, all the correct brushing patterns. It has a beautifully detailed bezel with sharp, pronounced ridges, and the bracelet, the famous Rolex President. Now, the President is, in fact, called the President, but only the bracelet, not the watch. This is the President as opposed to the Jubilee Rolex dress watch bracelet. It's gorgeous. You can see on the sides the three-link design is brushed on its shoulders and on its flanks. It's smooth and polished down the middle, and it leads to the famous President Crownclasp, which you can see right here. It closes and seamlessly shuts the bracelet so that you can't see the point where the clasp actually breaks the links. So the watch has a low profile, seamless appearance on the wrist. Now, not only does this help the watch play better with long sleeves and dress cuffs, but it creates a more elegant profile than the large oyster clasps that you see on the dive models. It's gorgeous. It's part of the history of the Rolex Day-Date and the Rolex dress line at the absolute peak of the model line. So the bottom line is the finish on this watch is exemplary, but that goes for the bracelet as well. And unlike a lot of older Rolex gold bracelets, this one has almost no play in it. This watch has been lightly worn, and you can tell from the definition of all the lines and the finishes on the case to the integrity of this bracelet, which feels like it just came out of Geneva the other day, not during the Gordon Gekko era. This is an unbelievable survivor. And again, because Rolex doesn't believe in planned obsolescence, it wears as modern as any 36mm Day-Date. This is a beautiful watch, as tough as they come. This could be your only watch. Although it is a dress reference, it is Rolex Oyster Tough. That movement can take just about any casual use you can dream up. You can wear this watch on the weekends. You know, I wouldn't do it personally, but yes, it could survive a shower or washing the dog. It's that kind of watch. That's what Rolex is all about. But it's also good for a night at the opera. So if you're looking for something upscale with vintage cool and a Rolex timeless classicism to it, you cannot do any better than this dark dial 18-karat yellow gold Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date, reference 18038, single quick set, available on our website watchyouwant.com. Not only is this watch a survivor, it includes one of the most complete boxed sets I have ever seen with a Rolex Day-Date of this vintage. Everything from the wooden interior display box to hang tags to the original service warranty card booklet to the original warranty card wallet to the chronometer certificate and the outer geographic world map Rolex style shipping box. If you've seen a museum quality Rolex boxed set from the mid 80s, that's what comes with this watch. And I encourage you to check out the watch and boxed set on our website watchyouwant.com. Check it out in high-res imagery. It's completely different in those photographs than it is on my iPhone. I can only give you a taste. If you want the full course meal, go to our website, and I'm confident if you're looking for a classical dress Rolex, this just might be the watch you want.